Hi there, Working Homeschool Mom. This is Charlotte from Charlotte Jones 24/7 and My Little Homeschool. And this is episode number 116 of the Strike a Balance podcast for Working Homeschool Moms. If you're new here, welcome. I'm a coach for moms, working moms specifically, who want to homeschool, and I help them to figure out the messy beginnings so that they can take their first steps with confidence. And today I'm sharing a really fun episode. I've put together something called the TIME or TIME method. And it is a way for a working mom to concentrate on the things that are really important so that she can begin her working homeschool mom journey with ease, with confidence, and feeling supported. But before we get to the episode, I'd be ever so grateful if you could rate, review, or subscribe to the podcast, or you can forward this to a working mom who's thinking about homeschooling so that she can take her first steps with confidence too. Thank you so much and enjoy the episode. Hi there, and welcome to the Strike a Balance podcast for Working Homeschool Moms. This is Charlotte Jones. I'm your host, and I am a podcaster, a speaker, a writer, and a homeschooling coach, specifically for working homeschool moms. I've been homeschooling my neurodivergent twin boys since 2017, and I've been a working homeschool mom since 2017. So I know it can feel really overwhelming to keep all the balls in the air all the time. So each week I chat about tips and strategies for being a happy and thriving working homeschool mom. I cover things like time management, homeschooling, mindset, and lots of other juicy topics like that. I also speak to awesome and inspiring women who manage to juggle homeschooling and work successfully and find out what their secrets are. And I also welcome experts who can help you on your working homeschool mom journey. I have lots of ways to support you, so be sure to check them out in the show notes. You can download my time audit as your first step to managing your time better. I have a Facebook group for working homeschool moms that you can join as well. And be sure to sign up to my newsletter for weekly updates. And if you need additional support, you can join the WHM Collective, which is a supportive community of working homeschool moms where we delve deeper into topics that are going to help you thrive as a working homeschool mom. Or if you need one-to-one support, be sure to book in a session with me. I'm so excited for you to be here, and I know you'll get so much value out of this episode. So let's get started. Working homeschool mom, I know how overwhelming it can be to choose a math curriculum for your homeschool. That's why I'd like to tell you about the online math curriculum we've been using for years, ctcmath.com. As far as math curriculums go, it has loads of great features that solve lots of the math issues we've had, and I know a lot of homeschooling families have. Here are just a few of the many features that we really like. Questions are adaptive, which means the interactive questions change in difficulty depending on the student's ability. The program uses a smart algorithm that tracks the student's progress and delivers questions based on their exact needs. The student doesn't even know this is happening, helping them to build confidence and master math concepts. Concepts are delivered through video tutorials and summaries which are clear, complete, and easy to follow. It's like having your very own teacher. This ensures your children understand something before they're asked to practice it. And then for us parents, CTC Math has extensive reports which are so valuable in monitoring your child's progress and spotting any gaps. And they offer a 12-month money-back guarantee if this curriculum is not for you and your family. CTC will provide a full refund, no questions asked. But I think the most important thing is a whole lot less stress when it's math time for both parents and kids. You get to outsource math with confidence, and your kids get a fantastic tailor-made program that makes learning and mastering math enjoyable and positive. Visit CTC Math today to start your free trial. CTC Math is also offering you, listener, an amazing special. When you go to ctcmath.com/MLH, you can get a half price discount plus a bonus 6 months for free. That's ctcmath.com/MLH. Work plus homeschool. How to find the time? Well, you can find the time with my TIME or time method. So if you're just thinking about working and homeschooling, then you might feel that work plus time equals impossible, and you would definitely not be alone. In today's episode, I want to take you back to 2017 when I started, and I'll give you a little peek into my life back then. You'll be able to see that I felt just like you do now. I was stressed and anxious, exhausted, but also excited more so overwhelmed and clueless. But I figured it all out, and you can too, and I'll show you how to turn work plus homeschool into possible. Work plus homeschool back in 2017. The beginning of my working homeschool journey was really bad. I started from a place of fear and desperation. Our kiddos had been in school for a year, and it was an incredibly traumatic experience. Each day of their schooling was filled with meltdowns, fights, and discussions with the teaching staff and school principal. So we knew that we had to do something. And homeschooling seemed like the obvious next step, or it seemed like a good option. I'm going to link a detailed post I wrote about why we started homeschooling in the show notes if you want to hear more about our story. So, apart from needing to figure out homeschooling, I also had to continue working. It was a lot to manage at the same time. Like I said, I was totally stressed and exhausted by it all. And maybe this sounds familiar to you. Here are some of the negative and unhelpful things I did during that time that caused me to feel like I was failing at being a working homeschool mom. I tried to do school at home. Obviously, it was not going to work because school did not work for them. I didn't give us all any time to adjust or decompress after our really traumatic year. In other words, I didn't de-school. I compared my life to other homeschool moms on Instagram and Pinterest. That used to make me feel really bad. I didn't spend time rebuilding a bond with my kids. Instead, I doubled down on what I thought was the right way to do something, even when my kids were not at all engaged. So that caused a lot of friction, a lot of resistance. I was really hard on myself and didn't give myself an inch of leeway. And I ran myself ragged by trying to do everything and by trying to do it perfectly. Now, I don't want to put you off homeschooling and work. These were my experiences and they do not have to be yours. You can learn from my failures, mistakes, and missteps so that you can take your first steps with confidence. So, like I said, I put together a fun little thing. Who doesn't love an acronym? I've got some ideas for how you can find the hours to work and homeschool with my TIME or time method. At the heart of all the struggles that working homeschool moms face is time or a lack of time. I know this from my own experiences and from all the moms who work and homeschool I've spoken to over the years. With enough time, you can fit everything you need to into a day. You can have space to figure things out. But if you don't have time, obviously everything feels a lot more intense. And when you start out, it just doesn't seem possible. So that's why I created the time method. And with these small steps, you can find a schedule that works, feel confident about homeschooling, and have enough time for you too, so that homeschooling can be sustainable. So let's jump in. T is for time out. It might feel counterintuitive, but instead of rushing forward with homeschooling, buying all the curriculum, setting up a homeschool room, take a step back. This is vital for working moms with little ones who are just starting out, who have never had their kids in public school, and also for those who have taken their kids out of school. You need to give yourself space to figure out some really important things. First, what is your homeschool why? Why are you doing it? What is the reason? What is your motivation? Think about it, write it down, and make sure you have it somewhere so you can see it. This is going to help you when homeschooling gets tough. And what are your ideas about education and learning? In order to homeschool successfully and to give your kids what they need, you're going to need to unlearn so much. And thirdly, what lights your child up? Spend some time just observing your kiddo. Give them lots of books and activities to do and see when they're really engaged and interested. Letting your child lead is a great way to make a happy homeschool. So this process took a long time for us. And I suggest taking as much time as you need because it's worth it. It took us a year and a half, but then when we did get going, we flew ahead because all the elements were in place. So now you might be wondering what all this has to do with finding the time to work and homeschool. Like, what does it mean to, know your why, to see how your kid likes to learn? Well, when you're sure about why you're doing this and you figure out what lights them up and you open your mind to all the possibilities out there, you can move forward with purpose and clarity. You can homeschool effectively, thereby needing less time. You can get creative with scheduling, resources, and much more, which just opens up so many possibilities in terms of what you can do and how you do it. And you save time because you're open and curious about what works and what doesn't, and you can tweak and change as needed. So the I is for internal work. I've realized that you have to do a lot of internal work to be a successful working homeschool mom. It's a very different way of life that lots of people might not understand. It comes with a lot of expectations. So you really need to have a strong mindset. And here are just a few of the mindset tools that have helped me and other working homeschool moms I've spoken to. The good old growth mindset. So this means trusting the process. You will get there. You will figure it out in the end. Getting up again when you fall down. We all make mistakes, and learning from those mistakes. Being open enough, being humble enough to learn from your mistakes. And then not comparing yourself to other homeschool moms. I told you I did that at the beginning. It really used to make me feel so bad about myself. But your homeschool life, especially as a working mom, is going to look a lot different to what other homeschool moms' lives look like. And that's okay. Rather than comparing and feeling bad about yourself, get excited about how unique your working homeschool mom life is and how perfectly it suits you and your family. Fully embrace imperfection. It's going to take some time to get it all figured out, and trying to be perfect is just going to set you back. Rather, lean into the mess and find a way through that actually works for you and your family. The M is for me time first. And you might think, why would I be putting this in as a time saver? When you schedule effectively, there's enough time for you. And when there's enough time for you, homeschooling is sustainable. That's my reasoning for adding M as me time first. I've learned that putting myself at the bottom of the list makes everything in my life difficult. And you'll probably find this to be true too. And how do I know? Because every single working homeschool mom I've spoken to has said as much. When you start working out a schedule and there's no time for self-care, then I suggest rethinking it. It's not going to be sustainable in the long run, and you are going to feel burnt out, and it's going to mean that things are going to take so much longer to do. You're going to be doing things that you don't enjoy, that you don't like, and it's going to make scheduling and time management so much more difficult. So this is the time to use all those productivity tools to make sure that you have enough time every day to take a breath, check in with yourself, and do something joyful and fun. The last episode I did with Sarah Fattore about moving from burnout to ease is awesome, and she shares great tips about self-care too, and I will link the episode in the show notes. I love all productivity and time management tools because they help me to do the things that are really important to me. And yes, self-care is right up there. My number one tool is the screen time app from Apple. I limit the amount of social media I use, and I also switch my phone off between 7 and 7. It helps me work uninterrupted, so I save time like that. It helps me sleep better, so, I feel better during the day. And it also means that I have time for self-care rather than using it on social media. I only do one thing at a time. And this has been hard to get used to. I used to be a really proud multitasker, but it's done wonders for my productivity and has helped me to save lots of time, because when I concentrate, I'm able to do things much quicker and much more effectively. I also block my schedule. So I have days in the week to do certain types of activities. So for example, Wednesday is a podcasting day. This means that I'm focused on this activity for most of the day. And it also means I know exactly what I'm doing. And I work on my habits. If you haven't read Atomic Habits yet, I highly recommend it. It's a very old book, but it is such a good book. It's a simple way to do more of what you want and less of what you don't want. And that's important. Self-care, self-care, self-care. And E is engage community. I always speak about the fact that I would never even have considered homeschooling if I hadn't found a community. Finding people online who were going through what I was gave me so much support, encouragement, and hope. There are so many ways you can engage community now. We live in a time where we're hyper connected. Obviously, there are some negative aspects to that, but at the same time, it's incredibly positive. It's a great way to find other people who are your people. So obviously you can join a Facebook group. You can find a co-op in your area. You can follow people on Instagram and Pinterest, or you can connect with a coach who can guide you in your unique path. When you feel like you're seen, heard, and understood, then anything feels possible. Being part of a community is really such a powerful tool to taking those first steps into your working homeschool mom life with confidence. My final thoughts on work plus homeschool and finding the time. Making a big leap like becoming a working homeschool mom can be super daunting. But when you take the time to lay a solid foundation, and you can notice that I didn't speak about curriculum, I didn't speak about homeschool spaces or anything like that. I didn't speak about state laws. These other foundations that you lay will give you a solid foundation from which you can take those first steps with confidence. And in that way, you're going to find the right curriculum. You're going to engage your kids in a way that really, really works for them. And you're going to be able to have a schedule that works, that includes time for you. And this is how you create a successful working homeschool mom life. And as a coach for moms who work in homeschool, I'm here to help you take those first steps with confidence. So be sure to reach out so that we can have a chat. I really hope you enjoyed the episode. Please let me know what your greatest takeaway was. You can reach out to me on Instagram at charlottejones247 or on my website at mylittlehomeschool.com, or you could even drop me an email at hello@mylittlehomeschool.com. I'd be ever so grateful if you could rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast. It will help spread the news about being a working homeschool mom, and in that way we can build this wonderful supportive community together. Thank you so much for listening, and until next time, take care.